Print, email, Facebook, Twitter. More. Nakkiah Lui unleashes vigilante Aboriginal superhero Blackie Blackie Brown in her new comedy-related link. The girl from Mount Druitt who became a remarkable comedy voice media player, space to play, M to mute, left and right to seek, media player, space to play, M to mute, left and right to seek, your white meat is done, mother effer. The words, growled by an unseen protagonist, echo around Sydney Theatre Company's Wharf 2 Theatre. Moments later, a prim, flamboyantly dressed theatregoer, played by Ash Flanders, is dragged, screaming, through a hole that appears in the stage floor. The opening scene of Blackie Blackie Brown, the traditional owner of death, signals the play's tone. It's brazen, it's camp, it relishes cheesy cultural tropes, and a hell of a lot of people die in it. Blackie Blackie Brown is the latest outing from Sydney-based writer, director and performer Nakkiah Lui, of ABC's black comedy and Kiki and Kitty. It premiered at Sydney Theatre Company this month, following a return season of her family comedy Black is the New White earlier this year, and will travel to Melbourne's Moathouse Theatre in July. Louis' comedy is the origin story of Blackie, played by Megan Wilding, an Aboriginal Australian superhero with a mission to kill all the living descendants of the 4 white men who massacred her great-great-grandmother's people. This synopsis alone garnered negative media attention before the show opened, with a News Corp journalist questioning whether the play is a worthy recipient of state funding. In an email to the STC, the same journalist asked, "Is it appropriate to glorify murdering people based on the color of their skin and or actions of their distant ancestors?" But Lui, a Gamilaroi/Torres Strait Islander woman and activist, says that racially motivated violence is exactly what she wants to unpack. "We are so okay with watching black drama and watching black people suffer at the hands of white supremacy on screen," she says, citing the popularity of Steve McQueen's Oscar-winning 2013 film 12 Years a Slave as an example. "So, I wondered, what if you switch the premise around?" Blood and Laughter. Lui is a self-described film nerd with a deep appreciation for grindhouse movies and 1970s Australian comic horror. She cites Peter Weir's bizarre Bloodbath: The Cast That Ate Paris, 1974, as a key reference point for Blackie Blackie Brown. Tarantino's films, particularly Jackie Brown, 1997, and Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2, 2003, 2004, are also touchstones in her tale of a woman seeking release through revenge. Blackie's victims, all played by Flanders, of queer performance project Sisters Grimm, meet a hit list of ridiculous and gruesome ends. One is impaled with an Australian flag, another has his face melted off by acidic blackface makeup. Lui refers to the show as a live-action comic because many of its more visceral moments play out in a series of projected animations that the cast interact with. The technique renders the play's violence absurd and over-the-top. Genocide, the violent history of this country. "We don't talk about it openly enough without it becoming a history war," says Lui. "So often, when talking about things which are, inherently, so uncomfortable, because they are brutal, and they are sad, barriers come up, barriers of self-protection." Lui thinks this circuit can be broken by injecting horror with comedy. Comedy is both incredibly sneaky and incredibly generous. "I think saying to someone, 'I want to laugh with you,' is way more effective than saying, 'I want to talk at you.' You lull them into this false sense of security, and then deliver a punch." Lui also thinks humor is a great way to incite self-reflection in an audience. If you don't want to laugh, or you don't find it funny but everyone else is laughing around you, you have to be responding to that, she says. The act of not engaging is a very conscious one. From revenge fantasy to reflection, Blackie Blackie Brown is a long-term passion project for Lui, who first conceived it as a short play for the 2013 Bondi Feast Theatre Festival. With regular collaborator Declan Green, the director of this premiere production, and Flanders' partner in Sisters Grimm, Lui wanted to create a play that to this huge world and explore these big ideas, but was essentially a two-person show, so that it could travel. We were trying to create something that is a life beyond the stage, because not everybody has access to a theatre, in particular the Sydney Theatre Company. Blackie Blackie Brown received initial funding from production company Performing Lines in 2014, who brought the show into development after it received grants from the Australia Council and Create New South Wales in 2015. Lui says the show's long development period was, initially, an exercise in seeing what was possible. The work starts from a place of vengeance and anger, and it started from that place in me, anger and youthful indignation and provocation, she says. But it's been a real personal journey. The ideas in the piece shifted a lot. Towards the middle of the play, Blackie encounters Rebecca, a young woman who is on her hit list because her grandmother was sold, as a child bride, to a descendant of one of the white men who killed Blackie's ancestors. Louis's talent for creating complex ethical scenarios is on full display here, with Blackie left questioning her role in the murder of people who are essentially innocent. Lui says that in writing this scene, she asked herself, how do you go from cheering to actually this is really messed up? Ultimately, Blackie Blackie Brown is decidedly less about raucous bloodshed and more about asking difficult questions. What is it to live when your existence is an act of defiance? Lui asks, paraphrasing Audre Lorde. What is the legacy that the past leaves with us? What is it to move on from their past, free yourself from it, when at the same time the resistance of the past is what has made you? I don't like telling audiences what to think, I just like asking questions. Lui laughs. I thought maybe I should have more of an answer for them, but I don't. So hopefully they will go away and think about how we can do that. While she doesn't have answers to many of the questions that her play raises, Lui is unequivocal about at least one of them. How do you counteract power? You don't do that through violence and trying to get as much back from those who took from you. Blackie Blackie Brown, traditional owner of Death, runs until June 30th at Sydney Theatre Company's Wharf 2 Theatre, and from July the 5th to the 20th at Melbourne's Moldhouse Theatre. Print, email, Facebook, Twitter.